And there's no sign sheets. I'll keep it. Okay. Matter of fact, right there in the bottom.
Oh. Oh, it's clear.
One of them got name on it. No, but I actually threw it up here. Because the walking show is not gonna be here.
Oh, okay.
Do you have yours in your hand?
What?
The 60 TV?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, then I thought I threw it over here.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna ask a favor.
Y'all get gold stars
For what?
for your attendance.
Well, are you gonna walk over there? What can you get us?
There's a you said somewhere?
It looks cute. I like your thank you. Yeah, I usually like scrunch it up because I like it a little more messy. I tried doing it for an airplane, it did not work out.
No.
Yeah.
It looks nice.
Thank you.
Now you look like you're 16.
Well, my brother was kind of making fun of me. He's like, you look older. I was like, thanks.
No, you don't. You don't. Tell me, brother, you don't know what you're
I
talking about.
know.
The ladies say no.
Yes, look, I'm tall.
My brother's like that.
Yeah.
I don't care what I do, he has something
Yeah,
to say.
they always have something to say. It's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, if I call my brother, he's the oldest, I'm the youngest, and if I
Oh,
call
okay.
him and say, hey, what are you doing? He's like, why do you want to know? And my other brother that passed away, he's like, are you writing a book? And I'm like, I thought I was being smart. I'm like, yes, ma'am, we'll leave that chapter out. No. This should be fast.
Yes.
I've got 2 inches, but as much as you. It's great.
Thank you. Oh, yes, the meeting already recording.
Oh.
There's still no audio on. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot the bulletin puts out the legislative guides for the legislative session.
Shouldn't say, I want to call West Borderlines.
Oh, okay, I heard of
And I just resigned from that executive committee. I was on 7 committees.
Oh my
and
gosh.
just going crazy.
I can imagine.
My New Year's resolution, I quit.
Oh, good. Good for you.
Yeah. I'm retired, we still going crazy.
Oh,
Was it Dickies? Good evening, ladies. You want some more?
Sure.
You have.
I'm gonna boil popcorn before I left.
Was it empty?
no, that's cool.
Oh, it's just.
So my stomach will run. So, sign ordinance.
Dang. I can't seem to pinpoint exactly
Yeah, well,
the right way. Everything that contradicts, I mean, nothing. So we go off feet, we go off square footage. And I was talking earlier, so maybe we should go off of any extenuating circumstances, go off of a special use, or variant or something like that, right? Because we just
And
can't.
exit, you can't.
Cruises has it every linear feet. For every 1.5, you get 1 square foot.
Of the frontage of the building, the front, or wherever the
So like
sign
this
is
one here
along.
is big, I mean, imagine how big that sign's gonna be, right? So again, it's just like everything just doesn't fit, or that post that's probably has another one, I mean, it's the kind of.
You know, when Rosa took that old sign down, I was kind of surprised.
They did the one in the front?
Yeah.
I thought they just moved it.
Well, he's moved it, I don't know where.
Well, I thought they just moved it a couple feet out of it.
And it looks nice, because remember Eric was kind of, but was a historical sign, but it's gone.
Because they said they weren't gonna take it out because it was
I know.
historical, and it's not, are you sure?
Absolutely, I keep walking by it and.
See, that's what was another thing we were talking about.
Well, we want it back. I like it.
We don't have.
Oh, it would have been nice without that new structure.
I can't think of any code that protects signs, the historical signs, though, right? And when you look at it as a structure,
Thing for everything, we just know in our heads, don't throw that sign away.
yeah, I thought I moved it, I gotta look at it, I thought he had just moved it. Maybe
Tell him
they took it out
before,
afterwards.
before he does anything.
2 days ago, it was still on.
Tell him we need it back.
No, did I just
I
never
think
moved
it
it.
looks, what you did looks really good.
Or is this,
I haven't seen.
Well, the poster, both, they have that addition and the.
oh, the one that was
posts.
there on the top?
I
Yeah,
like the history.
No, the pole mounted one is down. That's
right,
only one.
right, yeah,
They were just supposed to move it, right?
yeah.
And they were just.
And maybe it's coming back.
Maybe it's coming back.
You didn't hear us.
I agree, it looks
I like your hair.
You know what happened?
I'm
It looks
changing.
cool.
I've cut 2 inches off.
Yeah.
It's good.
With this
It's
slide.
got some of my
And
ride.
I told. I was walking. Okay, here comes that. Everybody read their last name. Mira cómo viene with his swag. and his
Swag.
cool glasses. And he goes, do you think he wants the place? And he said,
Well, it's because I just didn't help because it was too loose, so my pants were falling
I didn't
down.
see any of
So
that.
I
I
was
just
going-
saw that.
Oh, good Lord, stop. I don't want that image.
I just saw the swag.
There's truth to that, it actually happened.
I just saw the swag later.
This way.
How are you? Oh, I used to see today here today for the first time.
I
It's
know.
much
Like,
better. You okay? I didn't sense that.
Her and James. They're single. She got her little jacket on with her little ears.
Me too.
They're James.
Oh, really?
Little bears off this night.
Oh, wait, what is this?
Yeah, that's what I told today.
Stevie, your hair looks
So he's
awesome.
part of.
Yeah.
How'd you get the courage to do it?
I mean, I've done it before. It's just like I get to a point where my hair starts to like bother me, and I'm like, get tired of combing.
Yeah. That looks
And I'm like,
great.
cut it.
That's what goes
That
with
was
me.
looking good.
I
Thank
love chopping my hair up. When
Yeah.
when you're like, that's it.
Yeah.
I
I was gonna wait till the spring, but I was like,
know my wife does.
I did.
Especially in the summer.
Oh, such a relief.
I remember getting my hair done once and my son answered the door and he goes, Mom, are you gonna always look like that? And my husband said, and you paid money for that? Back in the perm days, probably 80s.
I have that, but even though my hair is real, this is like curl. But I had to hear with the perm, and I was like, wow, back in those days. That was my first time I chopped it off. And then when I had my son,
Hey,
second
man.
Like chop. I'm-
Where are you sitting, honey?
Anyway.
What do you say?
What's left, huh?
Yeah, your hair's getting longer too. I decided I needed the long. That's me. 2 years, like a year and a half ago, I cut my hair like short like that. A year and a half.
A year and a
My hair
half?
goes so
That's
fast. Yeah. Mine goes and thick. My hair is like you can build ropes with this thing.
But if you cut your hair short, you don't want to go in like every 4 weeks, then it goes really fast.
Yeah.
You're growing it out. Okay, enough girl hair talk, huh?
Girl talk.
Because now.
How about you?
Yeah, how was yours? Every 4
Yeah,
weeks,
Sarah,
sir?
your hair.
You get it in 4
Yeah, just a
weeks.
basic cut, yeah, the city barber, and these guys were all about.
Where they
They know you.
They're right there on Main Street, North Main, city barber. We like every 1 to 6 weeks or so.
My husband goes over there to the one over there on the near salon.
Mhm.
And those two guys in there, they watch the November.
They're crying.
Yeah.
When you come
And he's
in.
like, oh, did you see what she did last week?
I know what it is. That's so funny. Yeah, we're moving some stuff from the church, putting it back into storage. And one of the guys here is complaining, he's like, I gotta get to the house because was it, what's one of the, I can't remember, General Hospital. General Hospital's almost started.
Good Lord, is it really?
This guy,
My husband, when my girls used to work together in the business a lot, and then when I was in the summer, and he'd come home, he's like, well, what happened to the young and the rest of us?
the rest of us. That's good.
Well, we're gonna get it up and just, we're not really following too much. I'm just playing around with this because we have a love-hate relationship. It was working earlier and now I don't know what's wrong.
Do we know about Kishaw's going?
He's not.
Oh, no, okay. Some pen.
Now we don't have to.
Eric is not here
Oh,
tonight.
Eric, correct. I thought you said for some at the.
He did, he said it by his last name, Walkinshaw.
Rocks, I thought you said rocks, or something.
It sounds sort
The
of
rock
like.
star?
Flashbacks.
I said, at least we don't have to squeeze in now. He was here, we'd have to squeeze in.
All right, well, I'm ready.
Okay.
Thank you all for coming in. This is February 2nd, 2026, Planning and Zoning work, say completely, I guess. Planning and Zoning Historical Appropriateness Commission. This is a work session regarding sign ordinance amendments or proposals for amendments on the sign ordinance. This is our second review of the ordinance. Reason why I wanted to come back together again is because the more and more I thought about it is the more it was harder and harder for me not to contradict one end of the code and then versus the other, and trying to capture all the possible scenarios, right, that somebody could request for. And I am open for suggestions, obviously, and solutions, and maybe point out some stuff. But the things that I have gathered is there's municipalities, 3 of them that I've checked, they go off of their sign size, the square footage of their sign off of linear feet on that frontage wall. That it's got to be on that wall facing, right? So the Crucis got 1.5 linear feet to every 1 square foot of signs. Some of them parks got 1, and I think the county also has 1. So it's around that ballpark. But with that said, if we change that, what if one side is bigger than the other? What if one side is much bigger? I mean, does that automatically qualifies them to put a big sign that's going to be, is there a cap to these signs? The way we did it last time we reviewed it, we just went, can't be more than 10% of the wall, which is very simple. But then again, it's like, well, yeah, it's so I think some of my suggestions would be you can go off for linear feet, put a cap on it, or treat individual circumstances I mentioned here in the code. I'll read first, and then we'll go over it. Is that the planning and zoning has the right to consider any out of the norm, or I don't know exactly how I wrote it, but any requests that are not mentioned in their code, right? So it's almost like a special use permit, but without having to go through all the loops and additional fees to get a special use permit, right? Because the special use permits will take postings, will take hearings, it costs the applicant $350, and I don't think it's fair for them that they want to apply for something that we did not foresee capturing in our code, right? So I did add that on there. I don't know if the board of trustees will go along with that, but that is my recommendation, and obviously I'd like to hear it from you all as well. So let's jump the very first section here of your package, general provisions. Right, we're going to skip what we're not talking about, but that's the very basic one, I think. I'm going to go to our sign. I think it's page 30. Yeah, it goes all the way to the back. Yeah, page all the way back. All right, so this is what we got. Okay, I'm not gonna. Okay, we're good. I'm not gonna go through every single section again, but the very first thing that I crossed out in red, strike through was called, was a 1865.040. And excuse me if you notice me starting to enunciate everything, because when it comes to prescribing and when it comes to YouTube, it's much, much easier if I just slow down. and read everything. Michael 1865 or 04, he just throws it all off. So again, excuse me if I slow down a little bit. 1865-040. Section C, this is 5 years after the ordinance codified in this chapter is in effect. Basically, where it says non-conforming signs which have been approved by the Messiah Board of Trustees, or signs which are not in conformity with these regulations, but for which permits or variances were granted under previous ordinances may continue until one of the following occurs. And then it says after 5 years, 5 years after all, again, 5 years after the ordinance codifies in this chapter is in effect. So, reason why I recommend to remove that, because the 5 years has way past gone. All right. So what's going to happen after you? Okay, after 5 years, all the signs that were non-conformity should have been done, right? And one of the things that I've learned is, especially in court enforcement, is if you're not going to enforce it, don't have it written down, all right? Because what's going to happen is then they're going to have to, they can use that against you for one, and two, it doesn't seem right, and it becomes controversial. Well, how come you didn't pay attention to that one? How come you pay this one? So maybe we should reward it, maybe however you all feel. It's not something I'm trying to get rid of. I just feel that it's already been 5 years. The same thing with the sandwich signs that we will go into here in a bit. But when it says 5 years and you put a deadline, either you meet it or you got to get it out. So again, that's why I crossed that out.
This is 2008, right?
Yeah, that's since the last of us is 5 years ago.
So
So
2013 is when it should have completely expired.
Yeah.
Every non-conforming
so it's 18, no? So it should have been, yeah, so it's been some time. And slow me down if you guys got any questions or any notes, but
Nope, my sticky is on the next page. Never mind.
we got to get to it. All right, then we're going to go again, then it goes to the exceptions according to the signs and such. And then we're going to go to 18.65.070 exceptions. If you go all the way down to letter N, it says signs of historical significance, right? These are accepted from the code. So all this 1865.070 does not have to comply with this title, with this section, okay? So these are all exceptions. Obviously, you got to meet certain requirements. They just can't just blatantly do what they want. But on number N, it says signs of historical significance are accepted. And one case came out a couple years ago that they wanted to put a historical sign up, but it had nothing to do with the building, right? So I just wanted to be clear when I got an opportunity is if you want like a mural, for instance, right? If you want to put a mural, it's an exception to the code, but it has to relate to the building or the structure or wherever it's on, right? You just can't put, I'm going to put a mural of Pancho Villa, but because it's historical, I can put it anywhere in the city, and you just can't do that, right? So again, just try to clarify that, because I did have to argue quite a bit with the gentleman. And then the next page would be 18.65090. This is permit issued if application is in order. And this is where I mentioned, it says, I'm going to read all of it because I want to make sure. When the proposed sign is in compliance with all the requirements of these guidelines and all other laws and ordinances of the town, the permit may be issued administratively by the duly authorized representative for repair and maintenance or existing signs, temporary signs, or sandwich board signs, and may be issued following the recommendation of the Planning, Zoning, and Historical Appropriateness Commission and approval of the Board of Trustees for all other signs that are in compliance with these requirements of guidelines and all laws and ordinance of the town. That's a long sentence right there. And then I added or suggest is Planning and Zoning Historical Appropriateness Commission reserves the right to consider a request upon any extenuating circumstance where regulations of this title are not mentioned. Because again, that's just there's another part in our code, it's not in our signs. It's still chapter 18 that does mention. It says if the request is not mentioned in our code, consider it to be prohibited until the Board of Trustees approves it. Right. I want to mention that because I don't want to make sure that this does not contradict with that section. So by adding this on here, I'm guessing that if it's a sign that because that is mentioned on here, then we can go ahead and proceed and consider the request. If it wasn't mentioned, then again, it would have to go to the board of trustees for decision.
Did we discuss now or?
No, yeah, go.
Okay, go ahead.
No, you got your hand first.
Extenuating, can we change that word? Because extenuating to me is like, there's no other way around it, but there may be, we could put like special circumstances or, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm okay with it, just to,
Extenuating, I don't know, to me that, I think it could be challenged, I don't know.
Okay.
What's the, what
That's
is the
kind of the way
definition
it's
of
usually worded though.
Yeah, let me look at.
Okay.
It's-
While you're looking at it.
Yeah.
I guess I think of it when we're doing medical stuff, is like extenuating is like really.
severe.
Yeah, there's like no other way
No way
around
to-
it,
Yeah.
yeah. That's how I.
Extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Extreme.
I have a question sort of on that same blue issue. I still have this bugaboo in my head about that Shorty's gas station thing where we had a discussion on what is a logo and what is a sign. And I went to the board BOT meeting and they just made us sound like we're all just total idiots. Because I really think a commercial gas station is so different from any other business in town. And, they counted like 1622 signs because they looked at each pump and saw. And I don't know how, and maybe it'll never come up and again, but is language something like this? Could we do that pertaining to gas stations? Or maybe other businesses that are so remote from what we usually deal with? Hair salons and,
Exceptions.
I still think that was just such a bizarre.
Special circumstances.
Yeah.
Deli.
I think it would fall under the
Deli.
same, well, we could even mention convenience stores, it's just, in our code, our signage ordinance, almost all of it is referring to the historical zone, right? And they'll say, oh, and by the way, general commercial, you can do that too. You know what I mean? That's how it seems like. So it's very, very stringent because you want to control, what's in the signage in the plaza area in the center. But we didn't think about what's going on. And I feel I'm the same way, what is considered a sign? Because a sign by dictionary is something that identifies, either, the product is for sale on
And
or
I
something.
think Shorty's went too far, and they have the big vinyl signs on the ice machine, they could, maybe there is some limit, tone it down some. But to hold them to the same criteria that a brick and mortar business on the plaza to me is bizarre.
Yeah, and I think in order to deal with something like that, we'll be under something like this, where it will be considered on a case by case, if it's not mentioned in our code. What do you think?
Well, to be fair to everybody though, because now you're gonna, and only because people are so observant.
Sensitive,
Observant.
observant.
So maybe some of
Sorry, my bad.
maybe some of the people at the plaza that have their businesses go to Shorty's and say, hey, well, we were only allowed 2 signs. How come they have all of these? And then count the ones on the pump and all this other stuff, when that's kind of a normal for all the gas stations have them, like everywhere you go, in every city, in every state.
It's just a different zone is my
Right.
rebuttal to that, right? It'd be just like, again, it's they're not doing it now. Maybe now that we bring it to the forefront, they'll start bringing that up. But yeah, how do you deal with that? And the only way will be on a case by case.
That or different zone.
Yeah, it is a
So
different
it's
zone.
Right, but put that in here, like, and special permit for different zone or something to the effect.
I'll add them. So it's going to be.
Did you want to read?
Just to be fair, to
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, again, because we're trying to add it or make amendments to what I think is more almost all of this is for the plaza area, right?
Right.
And it's not, so I mentioned, that's a good point. I mentioned other that's depending on the zoning.
So before we move on for the different word for extenuating, we have justifying
Which one?
Justifying
Justifying.
instead of extenuating circumstances, like justifying or explaining, mitigating, rationalizing. If we didn't want to use that word, there's a few softer words to use.
I do like the justifying, because they are coming in to justify why they want a bigger sign. I mean,
And if they have a good justification, because it fits their building. Or
Justifying?
if it's,
yeah, I
or
do
if
like
it's,
that.
Oh, for me.
because they're coming in big case by
opposed.
case, and we want to look at them if we're justifying that, this
Yeah.
one, because of this. Because we don't want to go with just a one size for everybody.
Right.
And if we are gonna put that, then we're gonna definitely have to put one that is more reasonable, that people can meet. And then if they're gonna go up below it, then we don't have to see it. If this is this, then why, that's approved, like, we don't have to worry about it, because it fits in here. It's only the ones that special, shouldn't be too many more. That like way outside of what our guidelines. Maybe we can say from this to this, or.
Yeah, that's coming. There is gonna be a cap, and then like you mentioned,
But, yeah, so don't come with it.
not all of it's gonna fall under, because
Yes,
then you gotta
unless
see every
you-
single one, right?
Like that particular one that I said, well, put it on, because otherwise you're not gonna have one until we pass a sign.
Yeah,
Things
I was
that
gonna
we're not
suggest
gonna
a foot and a half linear feet of, a wall to 1 square foot, and that seems pretty reasonable. But again, and then that would be the max, and then again, it would be falling under this to where it might be reasonable, but, you have 200 linear feet, you can't put you would have to, that will fall under something, this circumstances, no, you can't put it that big because of so and so and so, right? Anything else so far? All right, and then the next section now is 18.65.10 permit fees. We have a very, very cheap permit. Inexpensive, I guess. I was looking for
Very
it.
affordable.
Oh, I like that one better. A very affordable signage fees, which is 2 square feet per foot, right? And it doesn't mention anything about review costs, doesn't mention any minimum fees or anything like that. So I went from $2 to $5, right? And then I did remove under the maximum fee for any sign shall be $50. All right, I think that some of these signs applications are pretty time consuming. That depending on what they are, I don't think there should be a max. It should be whatever it comes out to.
Can I ask you a question? Because I'm not good at square foot and linear foot. I mean, I know what it is, but would it be cheaper to say linear? I mean, is it gonna be more beneficial to them to go with $5 per square foot or $5 per linear foot?
Well, because depending on, like, in the plaza, they don't go off a linear feet. So if you don't mention linear feet on everything, then everything's gonna have to switch over to linear
right.
feet, right? Everything right now is being considered under square footage.
So
I
then
think
why are we
that's
changing it to linear?
Consistency.
No, only because square footage doesn't add up. It doesn't. Some buildings are taller, some are shorter. Say, for instance, this building is 30 feet tall and it's 100.
Right.
That's going to be a big sign, right? So linear feet is just no matter how tall it is, it's just going to go off with the square footage. That's how they have it. I mean, that's
But
just,
in previous, you said they were going by square foot before?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
Look at
we
that
said
new.
changing that, so if we're changing to linear, then.
Just to be considered the site, yeah, but it's still going to stay as square footage as a measurement.
He was saying
I
that.
get it now. Okay.
Eddie, how many times have we, as an applicant exceeded the $50 maximum fee?
I think maybe 4 times since I've been in.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have huge signs, because they're obviously
Because in the
code
plaza, most
regulated.
of the buildings
Yeah.
are
Yeah,
small.
Yeah.
you know.
exactly. The commercial zone currently allows 25 square feet, the biggest. So we go for $2 25 feet, that's $50.
Yeah.
So and really there really hasn't been much signage. I think one of them was the heart of the desert, and
Right.
then there was one more.
That's right.
But yeah, there's not really.
Right. So the town of Mesilla is losing that amount of money because the language is here.
Correct.
So it could be.
Yeah, that $2 back then was probably worth $20 right now.
Right.
In 1972.
The majority of the signs we have on the plaza are like $5.
Yeah.
With $2 ones.
And if you go down a little bit more, 18.65.130, it says temporary signs. Again, going back and try to save us time to rereading all the definitions. The description of signage is anything that's really put up for communicating, right? Or if it's identifies a product or identifies a building, historic significance, and so on and so on. We in the commercial zone, they're allowed 2 temporary signs, which to me interprets as banners, right? One banners for something that says for sale or not for sale, big sale or under new management, or the fireplace, Planet Fireworks, during the 4th of July and the New Year's, they always like to come in and request signage or temporary signs for those feather flag signs, But, does that fall under our code? The way it's written, it does, right? So they're only allowed to have 2, right? So that means I tell them, you got to have one for New Year's and then one for, you know what I mean? So it lasts a little bit. Maybe we can get them a couple more flag signs, right? Because that's not.
See, the way I read that too is like, you get 4 a year. If you take 2 down, you put 2 more up. That's how you read it.
And I would have interpreted it if I was the business owner, I would have done it and no one would have.
Yeah, well, I tried the very first year. I put them under the same sign applications. No, they told me I have to treat every flag as an individual sign.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
So it's like, sorry, you only get to put one. You know what I mean? And that to me, so again, I think that's maybe we can bump it up to 4.
Yeah.
Maybe
In the commercial zone again, we're not talking about the plaza. I know that's more sensitive, but in the commercial zone,
You're gonna be nice, give them 4.
I was thinking even more than that.
I'm sorry.
It's more than 4. If it's for a whole year,
You think you should have more than 4?
Throughout the year.
Maybe you should say at a
like
time. You know what I'm
throughout the
saying?
year.
You can't have more at the same time.
Yeah, I think you should put throughout the year.
Yeah.
Or
2 times a year, but no more than 4.
Throughout the
Maybe.
year. Throughout the year, because if you say 2 per year, I could take 2 down and put 2 more up, and 2 down and 2 more up.
But if they again, it depends on
but
who's.
that's only 4.
Kind of defeats
only
the
2.
purpose of
Four,
it.
that's
But
only-
also
that's
it
only
goes
2
4 up for the whole year.
No, because it says 15.
15 day
Oh, I
limit.
see, I'm sorry, sorry.
Should we also identify that each one of those signs are not or should be under one application? If it's considered for the
Yes.
same,
There you
like
go.
4 flag, that way we're not have 4 applications and 4 case numbers and 4 more inputs. All right.
All their signs, they have.
So how would we like would we identify like advertising signs or specifically for feather flag signs to be?
What else do they ask for?
Well, they don't.
That's the only thing. The only thing that does that, and then maybe a banner that says opening soon or something like maybe there's a festival and such.
Or what if they use? But what if they want to use those little blow up things?
Yeah, monos.
I
No,
love those.
Is that even a sign?
I mean, but because some of them put their logos on them.
Yeah.
No, we don't want
It's a
those.
fair thing, because people might think, so if that's not included, they could think they can put that up at any time.
But nobody's done it.
But then
Yes.
then it refers back to
But
We gotta stoop to the lowest level of
Okay.
what might
I
happen.
think you should delete
A guy
it. Just say temporary sign.
leave it as it is,
We'll start
Yeah.
to-
and just put 4
Signs.
like that
And put- what did we say?
It says we
Yeah.
have up
at once.
4
That
temporary
they
signs.
go into
per
the
year.
same. Yeah, per year. Oh, well, that sounds reasonable.
So if you put all 4 signs, say on, like the firecracker guy, if you put all 4 signs that weekend or whatever,
You can't
then he
put
can't
them
do it for
on New Year's?
New Year's?
As written,
If we
Right,
identify,
as written.
if we identify this saying that's why I don't know exactly how to put it. That's not gonna compromise other sign applications. To say, hey,
are we only thinking of the fireworks? Is this kind of the
no,
biggest?
that's probably pretty much. They're really the only ones that put feather flag signs. They come up twice a year, And they complain because they can only put one flag at a time. But and then then you have the other fireworks place here that has a whole tarp that has a sign on it, right?
Right.
So how do you and a big old travel trailer, not travel, a semi trailer
Semi-trailer
that has a big
the
old sign on that.
Right? And it's the size of the trailer. Yeah.
And
That
then,
one in front of house use that.
Chris,
no,
Chris
but
Ross
Risterman,
Yeah.
Risterman property.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
I'm saying so.
Oh, there's a big sign.
So that one there definitely is above our outside of our ordinance, right? Requirements.
I think a good ending to that would be 4 temporary signs throughout the year.
Yes, because then that way, if they need a holiday season in July, and then they need January, New Year's, another holiday, like during their holiday seasons, that would be what she said. That sounds good.
I think I read somewhere in here that events like for holidays and stuff, maybe
Maybe
that's
just advance.
could be an
like,
exception
holidays.
that won't even have to worry
I
about.
mean, throughout the year is better than because of the year.
They
Yeah,
can do
yeah.
it.
What was it you mentioned? What was your?
Throughout the year,
Instead of per.
instead of per.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just-
But if they wanna have a sale, they wanna put up a
So that's,
sign.
that encompasses.
I was even thinking maybe like I don't know if the chocolate lady puts out an extra sign for her, Valentine.
Well, they can because they're allowed
Right,
to.
she has
right?
yeah.
As long as it
Just
doesn't
not-
take up more than 1/3 of the window.
Yes, and it's on your property,
Just saying.
and it meets the design standard and all this other stuff. Okay,
Moving on.
you on the same page?
Next
Yeah.
page.
Check.
The
My
next,
favorite.
the next page. Okay, 18.65.135 sandwich boards or frame signs, A-frame signs.
What page?
This is
Next one.
Just the next.
behind. Okay. A sandwich board or A-frame type sign may be permitted for a business establishment. Such sign shall be located on the premises where the business is located and shall be non-permanent in nature, brought inside when the business closes for the day. This sign shall be no larger than 6 square feet in area. Only one sandwich, and then my proposed addition is only one sandwich sign is allowed per business and may be within 3 feet of the property in a historical commercial zone when the building is up to the property line. Sign shall not cause any obstruction on pathways and sidewalks. Comment.
Well,
Let me continue the next one and then.
no, no,
No,
no.
no, we
And then-
gotta do one at a time. Wait,
So, but they do it all the time.
please.
Madeline's.
Yeah, they do.
And
Well, there's a
there's
lot of
another
them.
one right on the plaza, she just put it out. And, I had a friend that I was walking around with a walker, and, and you cannot
Go around.
Cannot
It's
go
hard,
through.
it's hard, yeah.
and so that's one
But
thing.
why have it in writing if they aren't enforced? I've been a biddy and gone in and moved it a few times on my walks.
And I know he spoke to her, I know Jose did speak with her, but I think it's not only a matter of speaking with the owner also has to communicate it to their employees,
Yeah.
because the employees are the ones who put out the sign, so it's,
Yeah.
it's chain of
And
command.
nobody's gonna do it until there's a fine to make sure.
Or somebody gets hurt.
Yeah,
You know what,
Right.
Yeah.
I
you guys
think
just
so,
gave me an
too.
idea because
Would that fall under the town
That's
of
all
Mesilla
right.
or that particular business?
It's a-
Because if it
it's-
happens on the sidewalk.
Well, they're violating code, and if you send codes out there, I don't know what you do. Or codes
well, there's
do.
a lot of violations right now that are not being addressed, right? I mean, I think the sandwich board could get out of hand. And I think we need to mention it somehow because I know I'm contradicting myself because just the other one I said, well, why have it? You're not going to enforce it. But at what extent are you going to be like, well,
It's time
we
to
got to have some
enforce
kind of rule and order around here, right? What I used to do is I used to just pick them up, throw them in a truck.
Oh.
And you had to come get them in my office. They would carry them out and pick them up. Sign
You
here.
have to, yeah, and you have to pay. a
But that's an
fine.
enforcement thing, right? So I mean, that's
Visitor.
when there are any kind of like political signs or any kind of signs that are not allowed, I just pick it up from them. Eventually,
I
they're
think
gonna
that's
pay.
a grand idea.
Why, how are you not gonna mention this in the code? It's just something that I
think
need to
it's-
suggest. What's it?
Would it be
Any, all
walking
illegal signs need to be picked up as a lost and found.
By the way, Eddie knows
For a
where they
fee.
are because he's the one that takes that up.
For a fee.
we skipped something that I had kind of wanted to talk to.
Mhm.
Political signs 30 days prior to the pertinent election with early voting. Can we maybe extend that?
Yeah.
Because
What page is this?
Half of that's
What,
on,
exceptions,
I'm
right?
way back under 65070
It says 30
exceptions.
days?
It says 30 days prior to the pertinent election.
Oh, it's I.
Section
I.
70?
How about 30 days before, early voting?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people vote early.
Yeah.
And I think that whenever this was, considered, I don't think maybe there wasn't any early voting back then.
Or you just said just take out permanent? Is that what you said?
Yeah, early,
No, I just want, I
instead
would
of
like to
election,
see
we'll
in
go early
30
voting.
days prior.
To early voting.
Oh,
To
prior
early voting.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
I'm on 32.
I'm sorry, I had
Okay, no,
that.
no, that before we forget.
on you?
The-
18.65.070. Aye.
It's gonna be on.
And your concern is, what again?
this is
If
a
it's
sign-
only
it's
30
on
days
the
prior to the
approval. So
election,
this is gonna be on page.
early voting is,
Early voting.
just extend the time that people can put up a sign because early voting.
But I don't think you can early vote here until 2 weeks prior to.
Instead of saying.
Whatever
urgent to
early
election,
voting.
it's the early
You still
voting.
need the sign
It's some
before.
people vote early, right? You don't wanna put their,
I'm aware
their,
who's running.
political
by
signs up.
signs.
Oh, okay.
Right.
If I'm gonna go early vote. So she wants them before early vote. That's.
And if they don't have any voting here, I mean, early voting, then that wouldn't apply.
Yeah.
But at least it's in there just in case they were to
Yeah.
in the future.
If, it says, prior, 30 days prior to early voting, if applicable or something
There
like
you go.
that.
If applicable, yeah.
Can, on the sandwich sign again, just because my.
What page are we on now?
Sorry, 35.
That's why I didn't move from this.
35, 18, 65.
35, oh, we're skipping, oh, the number.
That's where we were.
Yeah. Page
Back to where we
35.
were.
Right.
And because my brain thinks a little bit different, or a lot different, maybe, I guess, when I read this, it says maybe within 3 feet of the property. To me, it kind of indicates that 3 feet,
Outside of the property.
Yeah.
yeah.
I would
But
say
it
the
could
same.
be interpreted as they could put it on the street.
Yeah,
on
that's
the
what I was thinking
sidewalk.
too.
Did you see that too?
Yeah.
No, but then it says that, you can obstruct. Reason why I say that, because a lot of the, well, I guess because this is commercial, but a lot of the,
Yeah, I know. but
there's zero lot line, and they're
Right.
not, but if you pass the sidewalk, they have the right of way there that they could be able to put it there, as long as it's not obstructing the sidewalk. Right? I just put 3 feet, because like I was mentioning earlier, I don't want a business here putting all the signs over there at the plaza directing all the traffic over. You can't put them that far.
Yeah.
So a business that has their property all the way to zero lot line, I'm not gonna allow to put sandwich signs. I mean, that what we wanna put? You
I
can
would
say
say yes, because that's an ADA regulation, you cannot.
No, absolutely no blockage of any
But if I
sidewalks.
hear
or-
you're allowing them 3 feet, if their property line ends at the sidewalk, it sounds like.
Well, I put 3 feet because
Sounds
usually
like-
the sidewalks are 3 feet wide.
And so at the last
But
sentence says.
I can change it.
Signs shall not cause any obstruction of pathways and sidewalks.
Yeah, I saw that.
I
I'm
think
just
To remain
saying that just
ADA
3
compliant, I
feet.
would
Yeah.
add.
Yeah, I would maybe add the ADA compliant.
Yes.
Or we can just
Just add that way it really is. like
Tension
a
that,
wall.
oh,
Yeah.
I think with
Why don't
something
we
like
just
this
take that
too,
out?
we need a diagram as to,
Where they're gonna
have
put
the
it.
building. No, I mean, because we need to put it out there, like, show people that, reading. It's a little confusing. But if we have a diagram that says this is a property line, this is and then this is where the line, a sign can or cannot.
You're assuming there's a boulevard between the sidewalk and the road.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
That would be the
so
only place.
made me think another thing now. Is a sandwich sign gonna require a permit?
Well, they're only allowed 4 signs, right? Or, yeah, it's a temporary sign, so they could have 4 of them. And you want them like at every corner.
And that's guessing it's temporary, though. It's
Right,
not,
right.
a lot of them are, as we know, are not temporary.
Oh, you're right, because it's only supposed to be for 15 days. But
The reason why I ask is because if they have to apply for it, then we can identify where they can and can't have it.
Then I would
Why don't you just leave it at
Like
their
you mentioned, a
property?
diagram, say, hey, you can put it right here.
Why don't you just tell them that it's allowed on their property only and not 3 feet from the property?
But not on sidewalks.
So like the guy or
Only
whoever
one for
owns
them.
that
For business, maybe.
soap shop right there near the new beauty shop, they have it on the window. So it doesn't, so it doesn't
Not
block.
obstructing or anything, yeah. But it's even more dangerous on those higher sidewalks.
Right.
So only allow them when there's room on property?
There you go. That works for me.
Not where there's room, because I'll make room. So
Then you
just
need the
on the
garage.
property.
Yeah.
On property.
Yeah,
Like,
look
on
at
any-
it.
on property only.
Got
There's
it.
space.
Here's the- I'm gonna
You put it on this
Like
side.
even the shop you work for, they put it on the door. They put the stuff on the door, which does, there's no, nothing
They can't,
to
they
hurt themselves.
Yeah.
The
Right.
only thing is that property
So-
can be misconstrued as the land.
But if we just leave it out there.
So that can also
Sounds like
include
their
the sidewalk.
discretion.
But the
So on
sidewalk's not
building,
But they're
on the-
not.
but yeah, but people,
The sidewalks, and they're not there.
Don't
there.
read,
Yeah,
you know,
it's not part of their property.
they make it to what they want it,
They do.
Right.
you know, so they have to be.
What are those?
Only one sandwich is allowed per business and must be on their property. And then we can always identify
Must be
if there is no,
specifically on their own property.
You can just leave all that out though and just say, one sandwich is allowed on the business in the historical per business, and then when you issue it, then you tell them it can't be blocking the sidewalk,
So,
I think.
so are we deciding that a permit needs to be required for the sandwich board? I would think that's the safer.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say so too.
okay,
Because that way
How
we
much
can
on
let
the
those people
business?
that haven't taken their temporary sign.
You could have a little handout.
It
It says where, a little diagram,
Give them a warning.
which would back up your code
Exactly.
you're here.
compliance.
Yeah, you were here.
National Capital.
This is your property line, this is your property line.
So if they don't have a room on their property, they can't put it.
Right,
Per
I
business.
think it's better to be specific than to.
Leave room for their own interpretation.
And I think I'm a stickler with words. The maybe and the blue should be may and then be. Those are two separate words.
Yes.
I think he's taking it out altogether.
Yeah, we're
If
taking it on
you do
that.
include it, then it's two separate words. If not, then please ignore my
Maybe.
statement.
Oh,
Only
Good
one
catch.
side
And maybe
per
within,
business of the property and take up and
Yeah,
maybe
I'm taking that out.
3 feet up.
then the next one, B,
Maybe four.
sandwich board signs shall be allowed for 3 months. That's what they had before. I'm just scratching that out.
Yeah. It's another thing,
It's-
just
it's-
like there were before,
Only
5 years.
Yeah, that's already been 3 months since they last talked about this, right?
So
And then
they are gonna go for permit, I think that's good.
Well, you treat it like a temporary permit, you know, like, although I don't think there should be under the, how many can you have in a year? Because that's gonna be a lot of times, right? Because it's gonna go
That's
out.
right.
So you're putting sandwich board signs are only allowed in the historical commercial?
No. Mm-mm.
You're not putting B at all?
It says right here, I'm hashtagging the red, and it says they are only allowed in the historic commercial, commercial and town hall.
Okay, but you're not gonna put sandwich board signs in front of they are?
I took that was on red because
I get it,
it's
but
mentioning the trial period.
it got kind of seems weird to start B with, they are only allowed
It's not going
to
anywhere.
me.
Oh.
Grammar.
That's a-
you know what I mean?
I think what she's
That's what
saying is to
God-
replace they and put sandwich boards are only allowed in the historical.
Right?
That's what
Doesn't
she's
it
trying
sound
to
more
say.
appropriate?
Do you see what she's trying to say?
Yeah.
Because you're starting, so she says instead of they are, we don't
Oh.
want who they are.
Starting
So she
off
just
with
wants
they
to put-
are.
She wants you to put sandwich boards are only
Oh.
allowed.
Yeah,
Got it.
sandwich
Just
boards.
that little.
So you can
Take
say
off the-
exactly
Good catch.
what.
Yeah.
Yes, good catch.
When she said it, I got it, and then we got it.
Oh.
That one, I've done it twice.
Okay, wall signs. Here we go. Wall signs, 1865-140, A2, within the commercial zone, the wall sign area on any, and again, I strike through given house. So it's any commercial building shall in no case exceed 10% of any wall area, including apertures, and then we struck out 25 feet, which is whichever is less. Again, this is where I would have some conflicting thoughts on it, right? The reason why I put commercial building, because in the commercial zone, you are also allowed to have a residential house or home or structure. That's based on approval, of course, of the planning and zoning.
Mhm. The
But,
long-range plan or
I'm sorry?
the long-range plan or the one that we just adapted.
Mhm. So we go with 1.5 linear feet, or what's the recommendation on putting a cap on? It can't be any bigger than this.
Whatever you suggested, I don't really, you have to show me what linear feet is, and I don't know
But
how it's
yeah.
gonna make, how it's gonna.
And then
So
are
you
we,
put the cap
are we
on.
measuring the whole building or just where the sign's gonna go? Because your
Uh-huh.
building could be 200 feet, but you're only gonna use it in the first 90 feet or something.
You measure the whole building to
Okay.
formulate
The whole
your
wall.
sign. Because some
The whole
buildings
wall
have
where-
don't have windows. Is that considered a wall?
Mhm.
Or split piece, you know?
But no.
It
it's a
just says
valid
linear
question.
feet. I don't, that's what the other three municipalities have, but I maybe go with 1 linear feet per 1 square foot. You know what I mean? So what do y'all think? 1 and 1, make
Just
it easy.
staying with square feet.
I have a
You guys
problem with,
decide.
just, I like consistency,
Mhm.
because sometimes the language confuses people, and they don't understand what's linear versus square.
Right.
It's like
I would
metric
stick with
inches.
square,
Okay.
but to me, the size of the building should matter as for the sign, because
Of course.
if you have this building that's huge and you have this tiny little sign, it kind of looks really odd.
That's why it's a percentage of the wall.
So we go
Okay,
to 100.
Let's say with this new restaurant thing that's wanting to come up, so you have the wall of where they want to put the sign, but then it has the rest of the whole building way long, so you're just gonna count the size of that wall, or the whole building, because it's all attached.
I forgot what you said, it was good, whatever he
Yeah,
proposed,
we're
it's just
gonna,
bigger.
like I said, I like the in
You might have
circles.
to talk to
It-
legal.
it just-
Does legal look at this? Because I really don't.
They're going to. They're going to. It's just that that's why I put in there insinuating circumstances is going to have to be considered, because, yeah, there's so many. What if this and then what if that? You know what I mean? It's just like if you do that building is 130 linear feet, and if you go off of 10%, that wall sign can be 325 square foot. That's big.
That's
That's
huge.
big.
So that's
And I don't-
huge.
Then why don't we just leave it?
Yeah, why are we taking it out?
Individual cases,
And then-
everything is
Yeah,
an
that's what I-
extenuating circumstance, and they all go through, we say yes, no, yes, no.
Well, the other
Why don't
thing
we-
too,
Yeah, but we
What is
still
the limit?
aim for consistency.
And that way you don't have to bring every single case that comes to my desk either. You know what I mean? So you just want to say, hey, right here,
Because
there's
of
going to
that at
be.
the beginning,
A general fairness.
So why are we removing 425 square feet, whichever is less? Because removing that language allows for the homeowner or the property owner to go as large as they want to.
And that's,
10% threshold.
we suggested, or I suggested that before, put in this section here, the case by case. And I think 25 square feet maybe is something that we want to leave alone
Mhm.
as for that cap that we're talking about.
Yep.
Anything bigger than that would be considered on a case by
I
case.
think that's what we have to look at.
Anything bigger.
Anything larger than 25 feet, anything lower than that.
So
Or any
Must.
building exceeding such and such would require the 20, or would require a special permit.
Well, it already says
We're
that.
only
Yeah, it already
looking
says
at, right, the
10%.
wall they're gonna put it on, not the whole square footage of the building. We're
Just the
just
wall.
looking
Just the
at that wall.
So that's why it says already 10% of the wall area.
Right.
And then, but see, then you're gonna get into what's the purpose of the sign, right? And if it's gonna be a sign that this is gonna be to advertise something, or it's gonna be a sign that's gonna identify the plaza. Obviously, if it's a plaza sign that's gonna be identifying the whole plaza, you're not gonna want a little sign like this, right?
That'll be that.
And if they don't fall under,
Circumstance.
that's what I'm saying. So yeah, 25 feet I think should be fair. But how often are we gonna get plazas too, right? So I think we'll cross that whenever we need to. Or same thing, like if La Posta wants to come and create another sign due to their size, and they should be able to be considered, again, anyway, not be able to do it, but it's be considered. Okay, so we're gonna remove, the strikeout, we're gonna leave the 25 square feet. Right,
Whichever is less.
whichever is less, correct. And then, okay, the next one, I don't think there's very many more, pretty much, I think that'll be it. Yeah, I think that's it. Any other ones in this section that we all wanna talk about? You mentioned the convenience store, right, the gas station? I added that on there. Anything else? We wanna focus just on commercial right now, if we start hitting historical, it's gonna be, anything more in the historic, the commercial? Sign, yard sales? No permit, nothing from yard sales, as long as they're not stapled to telephone poles.
As long
As
as
long as they
they're,
can take them
they're not
out
allowed
after they're done.
and once in the amount of time per year. I mean, you can only have one or two, right?
I'm not familiar with the, I'm
I
not-
know they have that ordinance in cruises.
You can only have a couple yard signs?
I think 2 or 4 per year.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's-
So it
it's-
isn't a,
Yeah.
it isn't a business.
That's-
Yeah.
We used to have, same thing before, but, they were, again, ready to complain because they want to treat more of a business than they try. Yard sales, I say, is to get rid of your junk, not to, like, business, I mean, it's gonna look like Fox
Just
Plaza
start-
here pretty soon,
just
man, we're gonna
start
start
a
having all the yard sales.
Have to start a flea market.
Yeah, because
I was gonna say, get a table at the
Someone
flea
else's treasure, though, by the way. So-
Yeah. So what I started doing, I started charging them $10 for yard sales, and they got some, hey,
But then
And allow them to have
sometimes
once a month.
people attach the yard sign to another sign and that's illegal. You can't put your yard sign on a stop sign.
no, that's
But
definitely,
people will, any sign, but people will do that, so that's the only thing.
Yeah, that's the-
Sales.
that's the,
So
again,
that's where you can come in.
home improvement, yeah. I used to get, I used to call them, oh, you got a house for sale here in this building, oh, yeah, well, guess what? You're not supposed to be putting signs up. Anything else? What time is it?
We got 10 till
Time to
That'd be a
take a
good
break.
time.
19.
Well, thank you all
Yeah,
for coming.
there was
early.
just some things that I had to say really quick was, just about just to let you, so, copies of newsletters for the Preservation Times have been distributing some of the public safety building, Madeline's, they let me put some of theirs. So that's when I saw the
sign.
Is that what it's saying?
I've also sent it to Rio Grande Prep. Hopefully, I think someone to speak with them for education day or whatever, career day. Thank you. We're working on the website, really trying to get this preservation. It's just a work in progress because I need to now go take some pictures. I'm developing the website and somebody's putting it in for me, but it's it can be detailed
Takes
work.
time.
So yeah, it definitely takes time, so we can do that.
It's not mine,
And
so
I
must
have
be.
been sending some documents out. I know, I realized, and Eric, I don't know, brought it up, he said that you weren't in the loop of my mailing list.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
This year.
So I just looped you in, and I think you're Commissioner 3, because you're 1.
She's commissioner.
I'm vice chair now.
So I have 1, 2, and 3. I don't
So
know.
one's vacated, because I was one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just saying to everybody.
That was my
One,
suggestion,
2, and 3.
somebody gets one.
Okay.
Doesn't mean the number one, just means.
Alright.
Yeah.
That's how I set it up, just 1 year, 2.
So yes, I've been sending that out, and I don't know if I'll be really fast if I can just read. I just wanted to read 2 things for you because this is really what preservation is really based on, and one really short is the Cultural Properties Act, which is 1862, and I sent these to you in your email. If you want them again, if you don't, I'll read that to you, and I just want to read Section 1 of the National Historic Preservation Act. So it'll be fast, not very long, and I'm a pretty fast reader, so if you don't mind.
We're
that's
here.
okay, please. So 1862, which the purpose of the Cultural Properties Act, it states, the legislature hereby declares that the historical and cultural heritage of the state is one of the state's most valued and important assets, that the public has an interest in the preservation of all antiquities, historic and preservation ruins, sites, structures, objects, and similar places and things for their scientific and historical information and value, that the neglect, desecration, and destruction of historical and cultural sites, structures, places, and objects results in an irreplaceable loss to the public, and that therefore it is the purpose of the Cultural Properties Act, is that what we're reading, to provide for the preservation, protection, and enhancement of structures, sites, and objects of historical significance within the state in a manner conforming with, but not limited by, the provisions of the National Historic Preservation. So that's just part of the Cultural Properties Act. And then just to refer to the National Preservation Act that was enacted in 1966, and they've made a few amendments and changes, and this is just a section 1. It states the Congress finds and declares that, number 1, the spirit and direction of the nation are founded upon and reflected in its historic heritage. Number 2, the historical and cultural foundations of the nation should be preserved as a living part of our community life and development in order to give a sense of orientation to the American people. Number 3, historic properties significant to the nation's heritage are being lost or substantially altered, often inadvertently, with increasing frequency. Number 4, the preservation of this irreplaceable heritage is in the public interest so that its vital legacy of cultural, educational, aesthetic, inspirational, economic, and energy benefits will be maintained and enriched for future generations of Americans. Number 5, in the face of ever-increasing extensions of urban centers, highways, and residential, commercial, and industrial developments, the present governmental and non-governmental historic preservation programs and activities are inadequate to ensure future generations a genuine opportunity to appreciate and enjoy the rich heritage of our nation. Number 6, the increased knowledge of our historic resources, the establishment of better means of identifying and administering them, and the encouragement of their preservation will improve the planning and execution of federal and federally assisted projects and will assist economic growth and development. And finally, although the major burdens of historic preservation have been borne and major efforts initiated by private agencies and individuals, and both should continue to play a vital role, it is nevertheless necessary and appropriate for the federal government to accelerate its historic preservation programs and activities, to give maximum encouragement to state and individuals undertaking preservation by private means, and to assist state and local governments and the National Trust for Historic Preservation of the United States to expand and accelerate their historic preservation programs and activities. So this is really food for thought. This is why, we do what we do, and it's really key to all these awesome things, but it's, we're in changing times, but it says it itself. And I did email these to you. Please, if you need any copies. And on top of that, a few of you have requested for the National Register of Historic Places that have all of our historic district and every building that is included in that historic district. And it came to mind that none of you have ever received that. So I just sent that to you in your email minutes ago. I gave you kind of the abridged, shorter version because I couldn't attach the larger document, it was too big. So if you'd like to see the rest of it, it has a few more pictures, a few more notes, but this is like kind of straight to the nitty gritty there. And then just as a sidebar, I also sent you a small article on what exactly historical integrity is. I know you hear that word integrity thrown around, significance thrown around, but it's up open for interpretation, but this kind of dials in as to what, how to help you make those determinations. And like I said, if you want to nominate or essentially, as part of a CLG, what was rewritten in the code is that the commission is part of helping to nominate these buildings. So that's another, we'll get there. But like I said, if there's some way I can help you or we can work together. But I think a good example will be this upcoming Monday, actually Tuesday, because Monday's a holiday, when I'm nominating these buildings to see how I'm kind of going about that. So yeah, that document on historical integrity. And then on February 18th, there's an event with, a Historic Preservation Committee in Las Cruces. They're doing an Adobe panel and what it means and how we can possibly get almost like an Adobe Alliance Commission. And Eric Leafield will be there, Pat Taylor will be there, one of Pat's I guess apprentices, Marcos Dominguez will also be there, and I'll be there, and I'll be sitting on the panel. It's being headed by Caitlin Beasley, who is the historic preservationist in Las Cruces. So we've been kind of working together. We've been talking about this, and so I will send you that flyer. I asked her to send me digital. I had a hard copy, but if anything, I can give that to you on the. It might be a little later, the 17th, but if you have any questions, I'll try and get it to you via email before then. Just so you can know, and it would be great if you can sit down. I also want to see if Tom Maese can come, building codes. They don't have too much information on all the big properties. So they think just the more the merrier, so we can try and get some people together for that. So that's it. Any
So
questions?
They took a lot of time with some of the wording on what you read to us.
Oh yeah.
Very, like number 4 was like excellent, the way the descriptive.
Very impactful.
Yes,
You know, when you're thinking
When I'm
meticulous.
listening to it, I'm like, oh, yes.
Yeah.
And I would just have to listen to those words over and over so that we can continue to do what we're doing.
Let's get ready for the.
Thank you.
Hey, can I get a cheat sheet?
Yes, I.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Do you want it? Do you want this copy?
You're not gonna do that?
I can. I don't need it. I don't.
Just because you don't have to. I mean, and I don't have to know if it's come to you.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, whenever you can come in, because I was like, I feel like I'm missing something on the emails.
Yeah.
It's me.
It's me.
Thank you.
Is it on?
Oh, you're back. That's right, we have.
This is
Thank you. Okay, that's what I want.
Yes.
Janice,
I know I'm good.
we said big crowd.
I know.
Gosh, you know, I can never.
Is this right at the RV?
No, it's not.
RV fulfilled?
It's not our legal house.
Yeah.
That's for the. Well, it's okay. Okay.
Yeah, make sure you get a lot of chairs out.
Standing room motion,
Yeah. Oh, we came for the show. You better put one on.
You crazy ladies.
We have a lot of
ideas.
I don't know.
Okay.
6:30 at the WIA. Okay, 340.
Yeah, that's
our lunch.
6:30, right across from now.
Yes, exactly. That is a cool video. I think we should get it.
I haven't been in there since I took this.
Oh,
No, not something.
line dancing.
First, this is first American Day.
So
It's
February 18th, that Wednesday at 6:30. 6:30. What is it called? Adobe in the spotlight.
That's great.
Jesus.
Personality,
I'm having nothing.
I don't know what you do. Did you take it with you? It's not under there? It's not
No, I'm
under
looking where my master copy is at, but I mean, I don't need it, but I have my minutes too. Oh, you got the minutes over there, right? Well, we'll get them. I'm ready whenever you are, Senor Vice Chair. No, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. 6:04. We are here at the Planning and Zoning and Historical Appropriateness Commission meeting for Monday, February 2nd, 2026. If we can just stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So if we can get a roll call on the determination of quorum.
Will do, sir. Okay. Vice Chair Gallegos,
Present.
Commissioner Miller,
Present.
Commissioner Alvear,
Present.
Commissioner Mulvihill,
Present.
and Mr. Chair Walkinshaw. Commissioner Paz
Present.
and Commissioner Lucero.
Here.
Mr. Vice Chair, you do have quorum.
Very good.
And since Miss Chair Walkinshaw is absent, Commissioner Paz will be in the spot.
Mr. Salazar. If we can go to number 3, changes and approval of agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
There's some typos. Do we need to correct them or just leave them as is?
Say that one more time.
There are typos.
Yes, this is the time whenever we go to the consent agenda, that's when we got. This is just to approve the agenda in itself.
Right, okay, sorry.
Any other discussion? All right, I'll take a vote. Commissioner Paz,
Yes.
Commissioner Mulvihill,
Yes.
Commissioner Alvear,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Vice Chair, motion passes 4-0.
Sorry. My do not disturb.
That reminds me, I gotta shut mine off too.
Okay, I'm going to check my phone as well. Mr. Salazar, do we have, I want to open up the floor for public input.
Anybody have public input? Going once, going twice? Okay. Mr. Vice Chair, no public input.
Okay, thank you. Now we want to move on to the approval of the consent agenda, if I can get a motion.
I move for the approval of the consent.
Second.
All right, first motion by Commissioner Alvear, second motion by Commissioner Mulvihill. Any discussion?
Yeah, I would like to make a correction on page 8 of 10. The second to the last one where it's myself speaking and it says, the very last line, it should be Madeline and not Elaine.
Oh, I see that. Okay, thank you.
And then on page 9 of 10, the restaurant name should be Don Felix and not the Phoenix Restaurant.
Where's this at?
Commissioner Lucero, which is 1, 2, 3, the fourth one down, and then the sixth one down.
What, same page?
Yes.
It says the Phoenix, Lord Felix. Where it says alternate commissioner instead of the middle of the page.
Because it goes Miller, Alvear, Salazar, and then Lucero.
Okay.
On the first line, it says the
Is it?
Phoenix, and then it's you, Mr. Salazar again, and then it's Commissioner Lucero, alternate Lucero that says.
Felix, not the Phoenix. It says it twice.
Those are the only corrections I found.
Thank you.
She said something else, but I
Anybody else? All right, if there's no more discussion, I'll go ahead and take the vote to approve. Commissioner Paz?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Alviar?
Yes.
And Commissioner Overhill?
Yes, with corrections.
Mr. Chair, motion passes with corrections.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to open up the floor for discussion. Commissioners, anyone?
Yeah, I put this in our, Mr. Chair, if I may, I put this in our agenda. One, we don't have any permits or applications in. We have, usually during the holidays and beginning of the year, you don't get hardly any at all. So don't think that I'm approving everything that is not coming to the commission. I think we might have had maybe 2 administrative approvals last month. So it's not, they just, people focus in the holidays and it's cold and such. But anyway, there's been a couple of things that have come up since around this colder months, around the holidays, that I kind of wanted to open it up for a commission to discuss anything that we want to resolve, right? Mainly, my thought is I always like to be proactive. I always like to head the issue before the problem starts, right? And is there anything in our code that before it comes out and becomes controversial that we want to talk about, so that way we detail it, get it taken care of, so that way whenever it does come, if it does come, then we're all on the same page, right? I just want, again, it's just open for discussion. I'll give you a couple of examples. There's a lot of things we keep talking about. In the past, that we have talked about shipping containers, right? Shipping containers. Nowhere in our code just talks about shipping containers, right? And when I first started here, it was something that was been some past practices that you're not allowed to have shipping containers. Where does this say that, right? I mean, those kinds of things come up to the surface whenever there's a new change, either administration or a new commission or new trustees, because, especially me, I'm not from Mesilla, so I try to read the letter by, but those past practices really does not affect or come to my mind because I wasn't here, right? So when I read those, that's one, there are some reason why I bring that up is because there's a property that wants to put 15 shipping containers for living quarters, right? So now it's like, is the shipping container engineer stamped to approve by the building code as living quarters? Would that be allowed, right? And again, it's something that we haven't talked about. Maybe it's only allowed in the RF zone. Maybe it's not allowed maybe if the shipping container has a surface or a face exterior to where it looks like a building, maybe that can be allowed. Again, that's just one example. There's many other ones that RV parking. In our code, it states that you're not allowed to have or live in an RV park with permanent fixtures, and that's only stated in the HR zone. Which means, is it allowed anywhere else besides the HR zone? And 2, what's permanent fixture? If I have an extension cord and a garden hose running to my RV for my deal or my uncle that wants to crash for a couple months, an extension cord and water hose is not a permanent fixture, so is that allowed? Right? Again, all those little things, and many, many more. I don't want to take up any of you guys' time. So the mayor did a very good job on our last meeting. on identifying what the three branches of government are, right? Number one, is the legislative branch of government, which we all know is the branch that writes laws. Two, the executive, which were the mayor and the court enforcement. I, to a certain extent, I think I kind of hobble the fence. Enforces our code, right? So and then lastly is our judicial branch, which is our municipal code. Sometimes you all fall into that whenever we have hearings, right? That's what we call a quasi judicial hearing. So you can't, whenever we have hearings, we can't cross over to the executive branch, or we can't cross over to the legislative branch, because again, we're contradicting, we're not following what the process is. So I guess that's why it's very important. We're not supposed to go to the site. You're not supposed, when you're not supposed to talk to anybody. All those kinds of rules comes into place. What strikes to me is the legislative part is writing of our code, right? What's on our ordinance, and where does it come from? Who starts that ball rolling, right? And one of the things I talked to the mayor is my understanding is the way I read it, the way he explained it, it comes from the board of trustees, right? We are a recommendation board, right? We recommend that you should approve it or should not approve it. If they want us to come up with our own rules, then there will be a recommendation to, hey, we recommend that we add this to the ordinance, or we recommend. But initially, they are the ones that will do final approvals. That's why it's like that. I'm just gonna say something. I lost it. What was I gonna bring it up? Yeah. So that is why he brought that up, is because we hopefully soon we're gonna start doing a little bit more cross workshops. With the board of trustees, what they want. And that's what I was gonna say. And another thing that I ask is, if we're a recommendation board, why, if it's denied by the recommendation, why does it stop here and not continue to the board of trustees, right? I think it should go to the board of trustees, but with a recommendation not to approve for this and this and this purpose, right? That gives the applicant, and it kind of deals away with the appeal process, because it kind of gets kind of lengthy. But I think, if it doesn't go to the board of trustees whenever it comes to here, then we are taking that power from the board of trustees. We're denying you, so we're not processing you in a sense, right? And I think we owe them that, hey, it should go. So all these things, that particular question, the attorney is taking a look at that and see if they want to change. If not, we'll leave it alone. But it just, again, I'm just always thinking outside the box, and I'm always trying to be proactive and try to head any controversy, because nobody likes it. I like for all of us to be on the same page as much as possible. We're not always going to be that way, but hopefully it's the goal. Also, we were talking about some training. I also mentioned about training for the commission, and I try to interpret what that means, right? Training for a position as a commission, and maybe I need the training, but as far as commissioners go, you're sitting in the seat that you're reading the code, or by your eyes, how you interpret it, right? Now, you can't train somebody to think the way you want to think, right? So, but as long as we're following the process the way it needs to be, I guess, again, from the chair, or maybe the vice chair, or myself, need a little bit more training in that aspect. I agree. But as far as when it comes to, because I don't agree with you, you agree with me, you can't request, or you shouldn't, in my eyes, request somebody to train somebody to look at it your ways, because each one of us come from different views. So we are going to get some training, and normally the training is the same thing. It's Open Meeting Act, the rules of conduct, but we really want, and my understanding, we really want is somebody come and bring us together. What we're reading, let's all be on the same page. I think that's the goal, right? However you want to perceive it. So that's why I'm doing this. Let's pick a topic. Sometimes I feel, okay, what are you more passionate about, Commissioner Miller? You might say, well, I'm more passionate about the plaza or fences. I don't know why you like fences, but we'll go with fences, right? And you'll be our fence expert. You'll be the one, that will be like, hey, I read the fence, maybe you can be, signs, or you can be, if each one of us will have a strong point, then we can always look at you instead of always looking at this way, maybe look at you. It's not always going to mean that you're going to be the right all the time. It's just somebody that has a little bit more in-depth knowledge. Because when it goes to the code, everything is just scrambled, and then it's just helpful to have somebody with a second opinion and help us stay on the same page. With that said, I'll stand by for any comments, questions, or ideas. That's what we're looking.
I have a comment. I agree with
Ms.
you,
Schuler was.
Mr. Salazar. I'm sorry.
She was
I'm sorry.
she was adjusting her chair.
I've ruminated a bit since our last meeting on the business. I think Mary brought up on the plastic hanging and how does it look good, and I wonder how we can deal with topics like that aren't specifically called out in the code. I mean, to me, we can't do anything. We often get criticized for not interpreting the code right, which is always a matter of opinion. But then, in the signs, we ran into a number of times where it's not specified. So is it de facto? I think you said in our work session that if it isn't there, it means it can't be done. Is that kind of a general?
Yes, yeah. It says if the request is not mentioned in their code, consider it prohibited until the board of trustees reviews the request and considers the approval. Now, with that sentence alone, it's a huge umbrella for a lot of circumstances, right? So, I mean, if it's cold outside going through the winter, and they want to put some screening to protect their patrons, are they going to have to go through the whole code amendments and all these other things for every single circumstances that way? I think that just like in law enforcement officers out there, the code is written the way it is, and by interpretation of each individual. Now, you have to give the officer outside in the field their due diligence that they did and know the code to their expectation or to our expectations, and they're going to make a call. Same thing with our commission. We, have been reviewing the code for a year or two. Maybe some of us are new, but we're going to make a call. And I think, and I kind of get on the mayor a little bit. Our commission, myself, including myself, we go to the board of trustees, we review it. We're the ones that's doing all the homework, but yet they focus on the code whenever they're on the board, whenever they're making their decision, right? They should consider the recommendation and the source it's coming from, but they shouldn't be questioning, 17.345 says this or 18 this says this. They can, don't get me wrong, they can, because I don't think they review our codes as much as this board does, right? And I've talked to a couple of trustees and they mentioned, I don't know very little bit for what the code is, depending on what you guys tell me. I just go off of your recommendation. And the same thing goes, the weight of that falls on my shoulders is, if you all make a wrong decision, I should be either held responsible or the weight on my shoulder because you all didn't get the facts as much as possible. And I try to remain as unbiased as I can, but sometimes it's hard because it's so contradicting, and I have to express how I think I'm interpreting it, not to try to convince you all, but that's just how I'm doing it. And it's okay to say, just like the last meeting, I don't agree because of the shed, and that's okay. I just want to bring that up. I think Commissioner Mulvihill was next.
I do agree with you, Mr. Salazar, on if it doesn't pass planning and zoning, it should go to BOT for them to make the final decision. I think that's actually in the ordinance that it says that we're supposed to do that, and it's supposed to happen anyway, so.
Yeah, it just since the code, there's been some resolutions passed, especially with the administrative approvals, for the sake of try to address some other issue other than permits. I think, Messiah has been focusing so much to being involved with the permit process that they've lacked in looking at other areas, being proactive and try to amend their code as cases come along, because it's very time consuming. So in an effort to try to hit the, take a head start on any potential problems, we're trying to streamline the process a little bit more. Now, signage, business applications, and stuff like that, they don't go to the board of trustees anymore. They stay, we'll get final approvals and such, and little other things. But short-term rentals, same thing, short-term rentals and administrative approval from the office is not something that comes to the commission, unless I feel it's necessary, something out of the norm. But yeah, it's, again, it's a matter of interpretation. You had,
So on what she's saying, an example is, you have your business or any, like we are here. If you're a good manager of that system, then you have those people in place that do the research, figure out what it is. We go on our professional judgment. We were put here for that reason. So therefore, you're going to micromanage them. Then you're getting into, well, no, we're not really going to trust them because, this is this or whatever. You got to put those people in place so that you have that system and go with it.
I agree. And you got to give them that respect, not respect, but the accountability that if it's the wrong one, I tell them, if I'm the wrong person, just tell me. I'll be more than happy to go home and drink a beer and watch TV, but I don't want to do, exactly right. The same thing with this commission. If this commission decides as a group that we're going to approve or not approve something, that should weigh something when it goes to the board of trustees.
Credibility, it's our integrity, that word that should be
Yeah.
right. And we're very consistent in that.
So one of the things,
Wait, okay.
Go ahead.
So, we're talking about the codes and how we interpret and all this stuff, but then I remember hearing you saying, you've said it before. We'll put in a code or we'll say an ordinance, we're changing that, but nothing's gonna ever be done. So it's code enforcement. That means, how do we're here making all these plans and all this good stuff that comes out of our board of all these things we want to address, but then it falls right there. So we have to look, if we're going to be proactive, we have to look at why it is, and then we go from here to there, and it's codes. So somehow the communication or the way that we address that we change this for this reason, and are we going to go to that business, that plastic or the boards or whatever. I'm not that in, I don't need all that stuff. To me, it doesn't matter, but if we're addressing that, then it does, because we're up here. So then what's gonna happen? Nothing. So then there's gotta be something in between. And codes and how that's gonna look. I think that's one solution.
Yeah, I think-
Solution, or not solution to all, the ends of all, or whatever, but it's a way. Because we just came up with that. What if we did a fine for the people that are doing this and not supposed to, and they know it or whatever? Would that stop them? It would me. I don't want to be. It's like giving me a ticket. I'm not going to drive fast anymore. Something deterrent that will help them or help us to make sure that what we're doing up here.
Yeah, just remember, and it's very easy to fall into it because I did both, code enforcement and community development. It's very easy to fall into, how come nobody's doing the code enforcement? My work that I'm doing, or our work that we're doing as a commission, is just falling on deaf ears and nobody's pushing it. But yeah, we just have to rely on the board of trustees and the mayor to hold those department by department, that person, fill the void. One of the things that is we have a very huge gap of communication between codes and community development. Right, and then that's why we're working on getting some software. Matter of fact, we had a real good one meeting last week regarding the codes department or code officers is able to determine exactly on a map where all the permits are, how long the duration. It's a lack of communication in the sense, and also is inexperience. We have code enforcement that has only been doing it for a year or less. It's immature, it's young, now we don't have one. So those are falling through the cracks, but still need to focus on you all doing a great job. But yes, it's not in vain.
And it's overwhelming for a code person. I wouldn't want to be that person because I don't want the code to be so rigid that this code person doesn't even talk to the person or doesn't understand what's going on or given an opportunity to state their case of why, go back to the plastic or the board or any of this stuff that we've talked about. You don't go to that person and, code violation. I'm like, oh no, you talk to them reasonably. Oh, you know what? I needed it temporary for the winter, but it's coming down tomorrow or the next month because it's whatever is it. Then we're okay. I'm not going to go and okay, great, thank you. Like, you have to build a relationship so that they trust you, that you're not just gonna come and decide,
Exactly.
that's code violation, I don't care what you say, kind of thing. We don't want that either. So
Exactly.
it's a fine line that we want, but they want even more, because I don't have to approach them, I just sit here and say, I don't think that's fair. But-
Yeah, that's why the mayor proposed once, first Friday of every month, all department heads, residents, businesses and stuff, right? Being out there and just, maybe we'll get dogs sick on us or something, but I mean, we'll be out there and trying to, again, close that gap, because you're right.
But on that note, we also want to be fair with everyone, like with plastic. That Madeline's had to get a permit, with her structure and all of that. And the plastic, which is kind of the same as the plastic here, but it does change the appearance of the building, which that is in our code. So where do you draw the fine line?
I think the difference in those two cases is one actually had to put up structures. to
Well,
hold the house.
but Madeline's did also when she did she got the permit for that.
Carport,
Remember for the,
Well, she got the carport, she did get that.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's,
For the top,
yes,
so that is also a permanent structure.
but she get a permit for that.
Yes,
Yeah.
for that. But Madeline's also had to get the permit for the covering
Yes, and that,
on that structure.
and the reason why she had to is, number one, if you go back to the minutes, number one, I said, I remember exactly what I said. I said, this permit shouldn't even be coming to the board or to the commissioner, but I'm bringing it up, right? For the purpose of, interpretation, it's just like we are now. It shouldn't even have, but the reason why I brought it up is because she was actually building doors and windows along with the plastic that she was installing. This one here, was fixed to the structure. This one here is just a temporary, it's not gonna be fixed, it's just, again, my interpretation, and that's why.
That plastic comes down to over there.
And then when you mention this, where do you draw the lines? You draw the line at your interpretation.
Right.
So whenever you say, well, you're wrong, or even you're wrong, or you're wrong, you can't say that because that's how they see it, right? And we're all going to see it differently, and that's why there's 5 of you up there, right? And whoever wins the majority, and that's what vote democracy is all about, because every single one of us is going to look at things different.
But I don't think that you're saying it's wrong. It's just that you want everybody within the town and their business, with the business that they're doing, to be treated fairly and equally. I think that's the main part. And that everybody respects everybody else's opinion without making derogatory comments or just to be on the same page. We're supposed to be working as a group, and I think that's where the comments about interpretation of the codes, maybe, if we were all to sit down and say with you or whatever and say, okay, well, this portion of the code says this, this, and this, and this is what you're saying. At least we know that this is what, say you, the mayor, whatever, the board of trustees is saying, okay, this is how this code is supposed to be interpreted. That way, every one of us knows that's the way they want it interpreted. This is what it's saying, so this is what we have to follow.
But see, you can't do that though.
It was in the work session. We're going through it, and we just did all that. We worked as a team. We said, oh, this
Right.
word or that word. So that's happening already. The interpretation is what the owner of that building saw as a temporary placement or a sandwich. It wasn't hurting anything, but we didn't talk to them. We don't talk to anybody. So we don't know that they don't even know they're violating any code, because there is no code for that. So why would you come to me telling me that I'm violating something when there's nothing? And that's what we go back to.
Now, if the commission feels like Commissioner Mulvihill mentioned and you mentioned now, I think it should, then we consider that. I mean, that should be considered. But asking me why we didn't do anything or why so as I mentioned, if we want to consider a temporary screening for weathering and include that in our code, we can. It's just in this instance that it's already been, that's why it wasn't addressed. Because now let's learn from that, like any other case, and let's put something down and ask me, any of you has asked me, Mr. Salazar or Commissioner Reddy, whatever you want to address me as, on the next meeting, can you put this up for discussion? Because I like to bring it up together as a group. And I will be more than happy. Let's bring it up and then I'll talk about it. That way you're on the same page.
You just said it doesn't come from us.
Only for discussion purposes, not, that's just to get clarity, to be on the same page. But yeah, the legislative part comes from the.
I just want to piggyback off of Commissioner Mulvihill's statement about, I do believe that we are a recommending commission, and to prevent, I think as a recommendation, we recommend yes or a no, right? But to prevent, anything moving forward to be able to touch the board of trustees, I don't think that's really appropriate. I don't think that's within our purview. So I do agree. Do we have any further staff comments or discussion? Commissioners?
Just kind of want to
Yes.
go on what Commissioner Gallegos was saying is that, I think that it is really important for us to make sure that it goes to BOT because of legality. Because if we say no, or we say yes, and it doesn't follow the code, we are setting ourselves up, not just the town of Mesilla, not just planning and zoning, but ourselves individually
Personally.
up for liability and be sued. I don't want to get sued. I'm not going to get sued over somebody who, yes, Madeline got permission, no, this one didn't, and then somebody say, well, you're playing favoritism. I don't want to get in trouble for that. So I think to kind of take it out of our hands where we're not as responsible and liable is to pass it on to the Board of Trustees.
Recommendation.
Agreed.
But don't they vote on our cases, so.
That's what we vote, right? That's why and that's why I keep saying they should consider a recommendation, but it shouldn't be weighed just on that, right? Because you're talking about legalities. We're just following the code. We don't know civil rights, or should be civil rights property laws or any other law. We just know, or we're expected to know. When you operate outside of the code, that's outside of your purview, that's when you start getting into the gray area, and then that's when you start getting into trouble. If you can justify, like I tried to here in a minute with the clear weathering, as long as you can justify it to the judge and say, hey, this was my thinking, then I feel comfortable with doing that. So it depends on the comfort zone, But yeah, I think that if there's any doubt, then the Board of Trustees should make the last decision. It just needs to go with the recommendation. It can't say, because we tried that couple, we had a tie. We don't know what we want to decide, and they send it back because if they can't be a tie, it's got to be yes or no. And a no, they don't get to see, and that's what I think. Maybe they need to see the no's as well, not just the yeses. Right? Because to be fair, again, liability-wise, I don't want to say no, and if they don't review it unless it's appealed, then maybe you open yourself up for that too.
So can you clarify a couple of things and just because of our last couple of cases? So clarification, if it's not in the book, then it doesn't really go? Is that what the interpretation was?
If it's not in the book, what?
Like if something's not interpreted in the book?
Uh-huh.
In the code.
Does it, in the ordinance?
Okay.
So it just doesn't go?
It needs to go, depends how you look at it. Now,
Well, okay.
if it's not in the code, it should go to the Board of Trustees for consideration, right? Now, again, if you're gonna say, hey, this is something as simple as put in the weathering, like we talked, and it's not in our code, we're gonna send it to the Board of Trustees for approval. Or if it's something that shipping containers, they want to put 15 shipping containers in our episode, that's not in our codes. You can't weigh one thing after another. I mean, a lot of it has to do with one, common sense, is try to serve our community, right? The same thing with signage. The same thing goes with signs. We didn't know what to do with the sign, so that's what we're working on it now. It didn't go to the Board of Trustees automatically, right? It came here. So again, it's not easy. It's not easy. I would much rather you all make a decision now. You stand here and I give you all the facts. I'm not trying to impose any,
No, right,
you know.
but you try to be fair, like you keep saying, and follow the ordinance so that we don't get
And in,
sued or in trouble or anything like
But we
that.
all think we're interpreting the ordinance correctly. We all think that.
That you are,
That we are,
because I don't
because
think
everybody
so.
has.
I don't think anybody here is going to be like, oh, I shouldn't be saying no, but I'm going to say yes just because,
Just because.
you know.
Persons think that we are.
And they're entitled to it. That's why I say you all vote, and then majority is gonna win. Or at least 3 votes, right?
Unless the time they come here for that extra, if they needed us, it comes to us because of that. Is because they have the extra permit or they circumstances, whatever you want to call them, and that's when we see those ones that don't fit the permit, don't fit the ordinance. They're a little bit different. That's when we get to see here.
Yeah, and again, if you want to change certain sections of the code, bring them up. Anything that you just mentioned.
Yeah, I just get confused because even like the last time with the shed, that it got denied. But I mean, I went around there and there's like 5 different within that perimeter, like from the road of Palacios down where that shed wanted to be put to. There was about 5, but those were metal. They were older, but kind of the same shape and a little smaller. So I don't understand why he got denied if he was willing to change the color. You know what I mean? So I thought that we as a board should have approved it with the change of the color. But like you said, we all agreed, but we don't. Excuse me, we don't, because I did go out and look. I don't know, are we supposed to?
No.
No. Well, because the question was asked if there are other structures similar to the one, and there was, it wasn't researched enough to say yes, there was, or no, there wasn't. So I went and looked after the meeting, well, not that same day, but there are other structures that are like that.
Oh, I thought it's just the color, what I thought I didn't agree with, but.
But like I said, to me, that was supposed to have been approved.
You know what? To be honest with you, I felt the same way. But they are the commissioners and they make those calls.
I voted the same way. What you thinking? Because it was brought up that there's other things that way. He just wanted one little section, but the way it was all done.
See, and I was confused.
So we're not here to say, that we're not on the same page. We all have our.
We have to respect that you have different.
And it ended up going that way. Wasn't my way, was it your way or whatever, but that's how it happened. I'm good with that because.
But the ordinance, but see, I was stickler for rules. The ordinance said you couldn't.
I think everybody's following the rules. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's following the rules. And I think your perception is that we're breaking the rules, and they're trying their best to whatever they can to ensure, like Commissioner Ovier said. And I agree with you. I think it should have been approved. But the commission as a whole is the one that makes that decision, regardless of what I think.
We tried to change it at Big 11. I don't get it. I'm confused.
But that's already happened and
Right.
it went by legally the way we're supposed to do it.
Actually, there is a shed at that property now.
I'm sorry?
Unless there was, I walked by that also, and there is a storage unit on that property.
There's one there already?
And
No.
that's what I'm not sure of.
No,
Was he
there
adding a
wasn't.
second one? Because as of like last week, there is, apparently he put it in.
I thought that was the second one. He was adding it.
Okay, I do not understand that.
See, I was like with Lori, I thought it was just, he was asking for one.
Because I think he had something in the back and the knuckle was coming.
But this is history.
Yeah, either way, I mean, it's okay. It's you all, like I always mentioned, I bring it back. If you want to agree, I'm not gonna get,
Yeah. Shut up.
you guys need more training. It's just is how it goes, right? So, and yeah, perfect. You just gotta be okay with that, right? Same thing when they go to the board of trustees. Sometimes it hurts, right? But it's like, if they vote against our recommendation, then they just vote against it. What I think was Vice Chair was mentioning is whenever you get criticized about doing, your performance and that technique, that's what really, it's not. But how do you address that, right? I just bring it to the mayor and their elected officials. Same thing, they're entitled to their opinion, and then you just can't change it. You got to be okay with that as well. So it's politics.
I understand exactly where Commissioner Lucero is coming from, because I know historically what we've done with permits or motion for a permit is that if there was something that we didn't like or we wanted to adjust it, we just made a recommendation that we pass it with a condition.
Yes.
And that should have been the example, change the color and then you're approved.
Yeah, that's what I thought was supposed to happen.
Yeah, but the way the
Yeah.
motion was
We
made.
had to
Right.
stick with it.
And she was
Yeah.
the one that brought that up. Otherwise, we would have done it the other way.
Yeah.
She's like, wait, there's already a motion.
Right.
Yeah.
But then she said.
Yeah, it got explained to me after the fact. It's just that I thought we didn't follow the book.
But then that's not being confused, that's just saying you.
Yeah,
You didn't get, you
weren't
weren't, you weren't confused if you didn't explain, it was just the way that it turned out, but that's how it is.
But the gentleman still has the opportunity to come before the commission again and request again, correct?
Yeah, he did apply, and he did mention that he was going to look at it, and he did apply. But you know, I don't know, I can't remember the details, but I do remember that mentioning it. They're stating that there are other sheds in here similar, but just the colors of what I didn't agree with. So I recommended, you know, to in the sense approve, because he was willing to paint it a different color. You know, and again, I agree, you know, the structure in itself of the shed does not meet the design standards for the plaza. It just doesn't. There are other sheds that look similar to this, but does that mean that those sheds should be there too? Like, no, they should have been approved a long time ago. So again, do you go by, well, they did it before, so it should be okay now? Or do you say just because it was like that doesn't mean make it any better? So trust me, it's frustrating, but again, that's why there's 5. They hear it out and they make the best decisions they can. And even though there's still a lot of, you know, and then, you know, you throw our code and their interpretation, and it's hard to I have to first interpret it because I bring it to y'all, and then yours 5, and then it's got to go to another 5. Now there's 10. Actually, there's 2 more. There's 12. So all 12 people have to be on the same page. That's not what happen. So that's why you just go off of.
That would have been an ideal case to go straight to DOT and let them decide.
Yeah, well, that's not what we were, you know, elected to do or appointed to do, but that would be so nice. I mean, let's go straight to the BOT. But we have to hear it out and give. That's what I'm saying. When they're ready, we deny them. It should continue. That way we don't, you know, approve, and then, you know, our approval does not weigh much because, you know, we didn't want to hold them up, right? But anything else? Commissioner Paz has something to say. You were raising your hand. I saw you. Now, anywho, again, my goal, and I really wish that we can all be on the same page, but you also got to respect one another's opinion. And there's a vote. Once the vote happens, then it's done. Now, if you feel like you're being treated misfairly, that I do want to address, right? But other than that, just because they don't approve with you doesn't mean I get all hurt when I go home all the time when I'm coming out of the board of trustees, man. I go with tail between my legs sometimes, like, God, man, I got my butt kicked. But it is, I'm still here.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Sorry, what I was gonna say at the, here, I said.
That's all right. So it's the same time. It's the same time.
Thank you. I know
We
it's
should-
a lot of work that I'm asking you to read, but please, like I messaged in my email, I'm always open to anything you want to come and discuss, or anything you need more elaboration on, please feel free. It's a lot. It is a lot. It's a lot for me, and it's a lot. I'm also really trying to get the community involved as far as I have some projects working with DACC that I've just proposed to their media about helping us kind of physically catalog our historic structures, which is really promising. I'm working on maybe creating a small historic coloring book for kids. So when the summer season comes around, we can get kind of and see if they can help us with illustration, and hopefully a small film video documentary about historic preservation in the area with DACC. Just really getting this engagement out there, and hopefully, so and just mentioning the Board of Trustees, one of my goals is to get them also more involved in the historic preservation. It's very clear to me that historic preservation, even though such a huge part of this town, it hasn't really been focused on, and nobody really has been looking at it. And it's one of our greatest economic resources, but besides that, it's the home. It's the home. It's a place. So I think that's a lot of things we need to start looking at and just really getting not only you guys involved, not only the community involved, but the board of trustees as well. So thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Salazar, commissioners, anything else? No?
We still got, that was on discussion. We just want to make sure we address anybody, number 7 with commissioner comments, commissioner staff comment.
That's where we're at.
I'm sure everybody's kind of mixed in all at the same time, so. Anybody? Smile.
Okay. Well, as the sitting chair, I adjourn this meeting.
All right. Thank you all for your hard work and your understanding and patience.
Well, that's good. That was a really good discussion. Very good stuff. There's all that meat on the bone that we're talking about. And then the ambiguity and clarification.